Hello, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here. Going to talk about the total solar eclipse finally that's coming up on Monday, August 21st, 2017, been dubbed the Great American Eclipse. It'll be visible from a good many places in North America, and it's going to be spectacular. Everything I've read about it says that the totality is unlike anything you have ever seen before, and so I want to talk about my plans, how I am going to cover this, and what I expect to see, and some of the challenges that lie ahead. It's very similar to dealing with a hurricane and where it might make landfall. You think about Matthew last year, how challenging that was, and it's pretty simple. We know where, in this case, the eclipse is going to be. The path of totality going to enter over in Oregon, over here, and it'll exit down here in South Carolina, and everybody along this arc will see a total solar eclipse if cloud cover doesn't screw it up. And so that's the big unknown right now, is where will the cloud cover be. So let's talk about where I am and what I'm hoping to be able to do with this. So you can see as I zoom in here, the path of totality. I am in Wilmington, North Carolina. This is my home and my office right over here, and so I am not far at all from the totality area, and in fact I'm not far from the center line, where we're talking more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds of totality. That's going to take place in the Bulls Bay area, the north side of Bulls Bay, not far from McClellanville here in South Carolina. This is a very famous area because of Hurricane Hugo. The eye came over Charleston, but the storm surge on that right front quadrant blasted this area and caused a significant surge, and it laid waste. The wind field did to a good deal of the Francis Marion Forest, and the leftovers of the hurricane went up towards Charlotte. So it's just interesting to me that it's going to cross the totality right through that area where Hugo made landfall in the Francis Marion Forest here. Folks in Charleston will have totality, but it's not going to be the same as the center line here, and that's where a lot of people are trying to jockey for position to get to. You would think it'd be easy for me to just drive down Highway 17, I know the route very well, and plant myself right down here, and no problem. And that is still a possibility. However, if we look at the satellite picture right now, and I zoom in on it, and we look at the southeast United States, this is what it looks like now. There's some thin clouds out here, pretty clear over to the west, and then farther upstream. But I'm not really worried about what's happening away from me. It's not my problem, so to speak. I'm concerned about right there. That's it. And I'm only concerned about a half-hour time on Monday. Yeah, the partial coming in and the beginning of it, and then the ending. But really, it's that half-hour countdown before totality, etc., and then the couple minutes of totality and a few minutes after. Somewhere in between. It's all got to come together. And any clouds can obviously screw that up, and you miss it. It'll still get dark. It'll be darker because of the cloud cover, but who cares? You want to see the eclipse. It's supposed to be one of the most incredible things you could ever witness, and I've seen enough of it on YouTube and documentaries and so forth, and it's just like, wow. So I want to take myself and most of my family, some of my family's up here in college in the Triangle area, so they're going to go in various directions to try to see it, and so I want to take the rest of the family to try to see this, and it's going to be tough. And by the way, if we look out west, I don't want to ignore you guys, Idaho and Oregon where it begins, and even into Wyoming, probably clear shot. No issues there. No convective activity to speak of. No wide-scale fronts. So you guys are probably going to be fine. And this is not necessarily a forecast. I'm talking about what I'm going to do. So I've been looking at the National Weather Service, and if I put in McClellanville as an example, if it'll let me. Is it going to let me? No, it's not going to let me. It's the way this program is. I have to click. So if I go down here and look at South Carolina and the McClellanville area, which is just north of Charleston up here, and you get the home page here, they talk about the total solar eclipse on August 21st. They have a whole page dedicated to it, just like if there was a hurricane coming. So instead of hurricane local statements, you have your solar eclipse of 2017 statement and all this kind of information about it. And then they have a bunch of start and end times, and the different totality times. I mean, it's a really well thought out page. Oh, that's interesting. 3 hours ago, with many expected to view the eclipse on or near the water, please note that coastal flooding is possible, especially during the evening high tides through the next several days. Well, spectacular. And you know why? It's because it's a new moon. So you get these extra high tides at full and new moons. But since you can't see a new moon except on August 21st when it blocks the sun, you don't think about it as much. But so, good grief, now we have flooding to deal with. Lovely. All right, so this is bad news. 10 hours ago, unfortunately, sky cover forecast for the eclipse is not trending in a good direction down here in the low country. And I'm going to show you that on this image right here, produced by the Weather Prediction Center. And this is their total cloud cover percentage, valid 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday. Blue is good, and gray is bad for cloud cover. It's a simple way to put it. So if we look down here in the southeast, I'm going to be traveling out of Wilmington one way or another. And if I were to go down to the Bulls Bay area, which is what I'd like to do, pretty good chance of cloud cover. And I read the discussion from the Weather Service. It just doesn't look good. Up in the mountains, look at this. The upstate of South Carolina, maybe down to near Columbia and vicinity, a little better. Maybe a lot better. It's all going to come down to tomorrow night, and what the discussions look like. I'm going to have to check the Google Maps and the traffic to see how much traffic is barreling down the interstate systems here, especially I-95, and you got I-26 that cuts through, I-95 goes down roughly like that, I-40 up through here, this is going to be a big bottleneck through here, especially in the Columbia area and the Florence area in South Carolina, because my first choice, I'm going to show you here, we're going to get to the nitty-gritty, like I said, is the Bulls Bay area down here in Charleston, north of Charleston in South Carolina, near McClellanville. So McClellanville is located here. There's going to be a ton of people there, and so I thought about getting out to one of these boat landings that they have down here near Awendaw, and I'll be very, 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 very close to the center line, which comes through here, something like that. The maximum totality, and that works for me. So that was my first inclination, is to come down here to one of these boat ramps, one of these landings, the Garris landing, whatever it is, I can't remember. Let's just zoom in and see if we can see it. I think it's the Garris landing or something like that. It's got this nice little dock that's out there. There's it's in the Cape Romaine National Wildlife Refuge, and I know it's down here somewhere. I can zoom in and show you. And that's where I was thinking about going. They said it's going to be open. Buck Hall was my absolute first choice, but I read that it's going to be closed. They're just going to roll it up and not have people go out there until Tuesday. So that's a bummer. So somewhere down here is that Garris Landing, if it'll show up for me, maybe. And it goes out to Bulls Island, I think it's called. I think I'm too far to the south. Nope, there it is. We're in the Cape Romaine National Wildlife Refuge. Can I find it? Maybe I'm too far south. It's called Garris Landing, and if I move this out of the way, I might be able to find it for you. Come on, toolbar. Get my pointer back. Garris. There it is. Woohoo! Ask and you shall receive, right? So there's the Garris Landing area. So it's a little farther to the south, but still well within the total eclipse area. I mean, the center line itself is going to be like right up through here. So Garris Landing, Garris Public Boat Landing at Cape Romaine. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. That's great. I'll take it. That's a lot better than a minute, and it's it's easily accessible. And this would be a great spot. They said there's going to be an astronomer there. It's going to be open starting at 6 a.m. It's got automatic gates, etc. So I thought, wow, that would be perfect. And if we think about it, I think I can take this little man and drop him right there. And I can show you what it looks like. So why the boat landing area? Well, look, it's wide open, and look at what's over to the east, the ocean. So I thought, man, I could take my quadcopter and fly it out over the water over here, so it's not bothering anybody. Yeah, there's going to be people in boats out there, but I can get it so that it's like over that, there's a little marsh area over here. So I fly it far out, get it out over the water. It'll run for like 25 minutes. Put it up to about 1,000 feet and just let it sit there looking east. Not at the sun, not trying to catch the eclipse. I want to catch the shadow. Yeah, you can see the shadow come across if you're high enough. And 1,000 feet above the deck would be high enough. And especially if it's clear and you can see it racing out towards the horizon. Oh, that would be just incredible. And then, of course, the landing itself is big enough and open enough for plenty of cars, and everybody can look up. The sun's going to be pretty high in the sky and see the eclipse. Even if it was high clouds like this on this Google day that they did the this street level stuff, that'd be fine with me. So I don't know if this is going to work because of the cloud cover and this little guy right here. That is like wah wah wah. So maybe over here somewhere. That's a challenge. What do we have in that direction? Well, if we look back at the path of totality, you've got this Lake Murray over here. Oh, give me a break with the using the control whatever. Sorry about that. Oh, come on. So we got Lake Murray over here, and there's the center line right there. This right here is the center line. That's the longest of the totality. So I thought, all right, leave really early Monday morning before the sun comes up. Drive to Columbia. It's about 3 hours from Wilmington. Head out on 20. I'm sorry, I went a little too far. Head out on 20 until 378, and then work my way over here to the center line somewhere. And just wing it, you know. But you know how many people are probably going to be doing that? That's like, So there are some other areas out here. There's Batesburg, Leesville, or Leesburg, whatever it's called. I think it's Leesville. There it is. The arrow is pointing to it. Thank you, arrow. Batesburg, Leesville. Oops. Man, this thing is just difficult. A truly interactive map. This is a good city. It's off the beaten path. For goodness sakes. Cut a guy a break. And it's not far at all from the center line. It's still 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So that's going to be my second choice, is this area right here. Let me zoom in without this thing getting mad at me. Come on. And I'm going to show you why this would be a good choice, all right? Somewhere over here is the Batesburg Leesville High School. And let's see if we can look at the satellite. That'll help me. I've been there before when I used to shoot dance competitions as a freelance video producer. And so I know that there's a really good high school somewhere around here. Where is that? Right there. So let's drop our little man right there. And if it'll do it, it's probably not going to do it. You gonna work with me? Here we go. So wide open. I've been here before. Huge parking area. You know, I've been here, like I said, for these dance competitions for about 4 or 5 years. They are held in this building right here. And so I know the parking. It's real wide open over here to the east. I could still do my quadcopter idea. It just wouldn't be over the ocean. But I know that this is a good facility that can handle a ton of cars. This is Batesburg Leesville High School. I don't think they'll have school that day because of the eclipse. I wouldn't, but you never know. Either way, I think that we could get here, me and the family, before the sun comes up or whatever, stake out a spot, maybe catch a nap, and be ready. So that's my second choice. It's the Batesburg, Leesville area, and we'll just go back over to this map because it's not quite as picky with me on using my wheel on my mouse to scroll in or zoom in and out. And let's go back to the map, shall we? So those are my two choices, honestly, and it's going to come down to, this is number one. and over here near Batesburg, Leesville is number 2, roughly. Both of those are real close to the center line that'll come through, something like that, and it would be incredible. I want to do some time lapse of the environment with my GoPros that I've got for hurricane stuff. I plan on setting up one of my unmanned cameras here at my house in the backyard, looking straight up. I've got a solar filter on it that I retrofitted on there, and I'm just going to let it stream live from here. So you can watch the eclipse to 98% here in Wilmington. If it looks cool, great. If it doesn't, well, at least I gave it a shot. I'm going to test it out tomorrow to make sure it's going to work the way I think it does. And then just try to document it, and if there's enough of a signal there and there's not 500,000 people, all the folks that came in from the coast that got ripped off from the clouds, and that's the other challenge. I mean, what do I do about that? What if everybody that was going to be in the Charleston and the McClellanville area and Georgetown, South Carolina says, and they go inland? It's like, this stinks. This is a nightmare because people want to see it, and some people have had hotel reservations for months, if not longer, and they've put a lot of money into this, and they've brought people down from many, many days away drive. You never know, right? So there you go. I mean, it's all going to come down to the clouds and what they say. So I'll be monitoring that graphic right here as it updates. This one that I showed you earlier was updated at around 2:30 in the afternoon on Saturday, so I'm sure we'll get another one 2:30 in the afternoon on Sunday, a little over 12 hours from now. So I might do one more little update on this Sunday before I make my final decision. I think that'd be a cool idea. All right, so that's it. Thanks for tuning in. It's just kind of convoluted, me talking, sharing my ideas with you off the top of my head. It's the chance of a lifetime here, until you get another shot at it in 7 years when it comes from south to north, starting in Texas, roughly. So, hey, right? It's like a 1 in a 500-year flood, and you get 2 of them in a year. Actually, it will be cool that we'll have another one in just a few years, because I'm going to buy like a truckload of eclipse glasses and just start selling them up and down the interstates that year, and I'll have all the funding I need, thinking ahead there. All right. So there you go. A little humor for you. Just kidding. So that's it. All right. I'm Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. Normally I talk about hurricane stuff, and there was a little hurricane connection in there with Hugo and Bulls Bay and Charleston and all that. Other than that, this is all about the eclipse. Wish me luck. I'm probably going to need it. I'll be back with another update sometime tomorrow afternoon or early tomorrow evening, and then on Monday or late Sunday night or whatever, it's going to be go time. Thanks for watching. I'll have more for you tomorrow.